Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank you for your attendance and welcome you to the annual and special meeting of Intellipharmaceutics International Inc. My name is Dr. Issa Odidi, and as chairman of the company, I will chair today's meeting. We'll begin with a formal meeting to conduct the business of the company as set forth in the notice of annual and special meeting of shareholders dated March 11, 2016. At the conclusion of the formal meeting, management will provide an opportunity for those who wish to ask questions of management. Present today are Dr. Amina Odidi, Director, President, and Chief Operating Officer of the company; John Alport, Director and Vice President, Legal Affairs and Licensing of the company. We also have Dominic Della Pena, our Chief Financial Officer and Senior Vice President, Finance. Right at the back there. At this time, I now call the meeting to order. With the consent of the meeting, I would ask this time that John Alport act as secretary of this meeting. The list of shareholders entitled to vote at this meeting has been tabled. CST Trust Company, by its representatives, Carol Pineda and Tony Takagna, to act as scrutineer of the meeting. Has everyone registered with the scrutineer? If not, please do so now. The notice calling this meeting, the management proxy circular and form of proxy were mailed to those shareholders who were entitled to receive such materials or to their designated agents. Copies of the financial statements of the company and auditors' report were mailed to registered shareholders of the company and those beneficial shareholders who have requested such materials. Additional copies of such materials are available at this meeting. Unless there are any objections, I propose that we dispense with the reading of the notice of meeting. Proof that notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the bylaws of the company has been filed with the secretary, and I am advised that there is a quorum present. I now declare that this annual and special meeting has been properly called and is regularly constituted for the transaction of business. Before commencing the business of the meeting, I would like to comment on the voting procedure. Each registered holder of common shares who personally attends the meeting, or each duly appointed proxy holder of a registered shareholder, will be entitled to vote at the meeting the number of common shares held on the record by the registered shareholder. Voting today on matters number 1, number 2 will be by a show of hands, unless a ballot is demanded. Voting on matter 3 will be by ballot. Please note that each shareholder or proxy holder present in person at this meeting has the right to demand that a ballot be conducted on any resolution, either before the show of hands vote or following that vote. I now place before the meeting the consolidated financial statements of the company as at and for the year ended November 30th, 2015, together with the independent auditor's report to the shareholders. Copies of these documents were mailed to the registered shareholders of the company who were entitled to receive them, or to their designated agents, as well as to beneficial shareholders who requested them. Extra copies of these documents are available. Management will be available to respond to any questions on the financial statements at the conclusion of the formal part of the meeting, if people wish. The next item of business is the election of directors. Management's nominees were identified in the management proxy circular mailed to the shareholders of the company. The slate of nominees is comprised of Dr. Issa Odidi, Dr. Amina Odidi, John Alport, Bahadur Madani, Kenneth Kasted, and Dr. Eldon Smith. I will now hear a motion nominating these persons as directors of the company for the ensuing year.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate for election as directors of the company the 6 persons whose names have been read.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Are there any further nominations? As there are no further nominations, I declare that the nominations are closed. I now put the motion to the meeting and call for a vote by a show of hands.
Pardon me?
I declare the motion carried for each of the 6 nominees as directors of Intellipharmaceutics International Inc. And each of them is elected as a director of Intellipharmaceutics International Inc. to serve under until the next annual meeting of shareholders, or until their successors have been duly elected or appointed. I will now hear a motion for the appointment of the auditors of the company for the forthcoming year and authorizing the director of the company to fix the remuneration to be paid to the auditors.
Mr. Chairman, I move that Deloitte LLP Chartered Accountants be appointed auditors of the company until the next annual meeting, and that the directors of the company be authorized to fix the remuneration to be paid to the auditors as set out in the management proxy circular.
Seconder?
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Thank you. I now put the motion to the meeting and call for a vote by a show of hands. For the motion, votes withheld? None. The motion is carried. I declare the motion carried and that Deloitte LLP Chartered Accountants are appointed as auditors of the company and that the directors of the company are authorized to fix their remuneration. I will now hear a motion for 2-year extension of the performance-based stock options granted to certain directors and officers, as more particularly described in the management proxy circular of the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the resolution in favor of the approval of the 2-year extension of the performance-based stock options granted to certain directors and officers on the basis that's set out in the management proxy circular be approved.
Seconder?
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? A ballot is necessary on this item of business, so a vote will be taken in this for this motion by ballot. I shall ask the scrutineer to distribute the ballots and ask the secretary to give instructions in the use of the ballot.
Thank you. Shareholders or their proxy circulars holders are entitled to vote. If you have filed your proxy and have not revoked it, there should be no need for you to cast a ballot, as your proxy holder should vote on your behalf. Please raise your hand if you wish to have a ballot.
There was a ballot. You filled out a ballot
At the front? No. Please record your vote on the motion by indicating for or against the motion in the spaces provided on the ballot. Then sign and print your name legibly at the foot of the ballot. If you're voting as a proxy holder, indicate on whose behalf you are voting. The representative of the scrutineer will collect the ballots and prepare a report thereon. Yes, ma'am. Take a short break while the scrutineer provides a tally. Thank you.
The representative of the scrutineer has presented his report on the ballot for the motion regarding this third item of business. I'll ask the secretary to please read it.
On the ballot, the number of votes in favor was 3,022,594. Votes against, 1,243,111. Total votes cast, 4,265,705.
Based on the scrutineer's report, I declare the motion regarding this item of business to be carried, and the directors of the company are authorized to give effect to the extension of the performance-based options on the basis described in the management proxy circular. Now, this concludes the business of the meeting. As there's no further business to be brought before the meeting, I'll now hear a motion to conclude the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move to conclude the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Thank you. And I'll put the motion to the meeting. For the motion? Against the motion? The motion is carried. I therefore declare the formal portion of the meeting concluded. Are there any questions that the shareholders have for management of the company? Any questions? Okay, looks like it's not. Meeting closed. Thank you very much.
Okay.